Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We're back, ladies and gentlemen. See what happens when you listen to MAGA? You end up getting reported. Oh my God. You can hear Big Zeus? Let's get it going, ladies and gentlemen. Some Bad Bunny. We're gonna keep going.
Dime, esto es lo que tú querías. Yo soy fino, esto es top de galería.
Hey.
Tú eres un charro, Rocky de aquí, una porquería.
Hey.
Un campeón, Rocky Marciano, Rocky Balboa, Rocky Balboa.
I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I play this because I think this makes MAGA not want to be around, right? They go, I can't understand the words. Oh, the TikTok guys have been very friendly. W. Rick. All right, let's get it going. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We had a little turbulence. W. Rick, yeah. So I was playing Alex Jones, who was crashing out about Donald Trump, covering up for those who are in the E-files. And so we're going to keep moving things along, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I got a cooking book, all right, because there's so much going on. We're going to listen to Representative Jamie Raskin explain how your dear leader is also in those files.
Donald Trump's name is all over these files, all over it. I mean, thousands and thousands of times. If you spend any real time with these files, you will see references to 17-year-old girls, 16-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls, 11-year-old girls, 10-year-old girls, and I saw a reference today to a 9-year-old girl. So it is a really gruesome and grim story. And I think in order to see our way through this and to try to make progress on criminal investigation and prosecution and some kind of social redemption from this whole nightmare, we need to listen to the survivors.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's obvious what's happening. Donald Trump, he's all over those files, and there's obviously more information about that. But it's also been brought to Big Zeus's attention that we can tap in and listen to Attorney General PAM BONDI. We're going to listen to Attorney General PAM BONDI, ladies and gentlemen. I knew this was eventually going to happen today, all right?
That she would have nothing untoward to say.
Let's listen to Attorney General PAM BONDI right now, if you don't mind.
Only real interest in the matter, based on institutional performance. But abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best. When the FBI opened a criminal investigation into the brutal killing in Minneapolis of Renee Good, a poet and 37-year-old mother of 3, by Trump's masked paramilitary ICE agents, you shut it down. You claim you're investigating the cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse at the VA. But how can we trust the administration when the president and Kristi Noem call Preddy a domestic terrorist and Stephen Miller called him a would-be assassin? Not only do you refuse to share evidence with the state and local investigators and prosecutors in Minnesota, you have blocked their access to the crime scene and the evidence. How are you seeking justice for Marimar Martinez, the Montessori school teacher in Chicago who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent who bragged about it on text? Or the family of Keith Porter, a father of 2 shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent in LA? Or the family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, shot and killed in Illinois minutes after he dropped his kids off at school? There's no sign of any movement at the Department of Justice. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that? But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board, and members of Congress like Adam Schiff, Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, Chris Deluzio, and Maggie Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding. Nothing in American history comes close to this complete corruption of the justice function and contamination of federal law enforcement. And the good news is many serious lawyers at DOJ, including some of your own original appointees, have refused your lawless orders. Danielle Sassoon, your original pick for acting U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, resigned rather than follow your corrupt order to quash an indictment against Mayor Eric Adams as a political favor from Donald Trump. A Federalist Society member who clerked for Justice Scalia, U.S. Attorney Sassoon refused to participate in this blatantly corrupt scheme. Her top assistant, Hagan Scotton, an Iraqi war vet and two-time Bronze Star recipient who clerked for Chief Justice Roberts, and then Judge Kavanaugh, promptly resigned too, writing to your office, quote, "I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never going to be me." You and the president nominated Eric Siebert, a 15-year career prosecutor, to be your U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. But after 5 months of investigating Letitia James and James Comey, he found no evidence to justify criminal charges. So you forced him out. You replaced him with Lindsay Halligan, Trump's personal lawyer from the Mar-a-Lago documents case, who had zero prosecutorial experience and no qualifications. And then you were humiliated when a federal judge found that this corrupt appointment was blatantly unlawful and threw out Halligan's indictments entirely. Wow. And grand juries of American citizens have repeatedly rejected your vendettas and baseless indictments brought by the hacks left at DOJ now, with 2 different grand juries in Virginia voting down indictments against Letitia
She's wearing
James
a cross.
in a single week.
You see the cross
and
on
just
her?
Yesterday,
her chest, her necklace.
Another grand jury shut down your vendetta factory by rejecting indictments against the 6 members of Congress who had spoken out to remind all service members that they have a duty to refuse illegal orders. You tried to get a grand jury to indict 6 members of Congress who are veterans of our armed forces on charges of seditious conspiracy simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. I hope you will heed the wisdom and the constitutional patriotism of those grand jurors and not try it again by doubling down on that humiliation. As your best lawyers are sacked for having participated in the January 6th case, or just flee for the exits now, your new lawyers keep lying in court. In dozens of cases, they've been excoriated for lying to federal judges. Chief Judge Boasberg, right here in D.C., suggested your Department of Justice perpetrated a fraud on the court. Other judges found your statements to be, quote, inexplicably misleading, patently incredible, totally inconsistent, and so disingenuous that the court is left with little confidence that the government can be trusted to tell the truth about anything. Now, as ranking member, I asked the chairman to add a few extra rounds of questions today because we each have 5 hours of questions, not 5 minutes, but we're stuck with 5 minutes. That's clearly insufficient to give voice to America's victims and survivors and to demand answers about all the corruption and cover-ups that we see at DOJ right now. We've got just 1 round, so we ask you politely but firmly, Madam Attorney General, please do not waste 1 second of our precious time by evading questions, by changing the subject, or engaging in personal attacks against members of Congress. We saw your performance in the Senate, and we're not going to accept that. This isn't a game.
Facts.
In the Senate, you brought something with you called a burn book, a binder of smears to attack members personally for doing the people's work of oversight. Please set the burn book aside and answer our questions. And when you hear us reclaim our time, that means it's time for you to stop speaking. We only have 5 minutes, so when we reclaim our time, that means you stop. And if you don't, we will ask the chair to stop the clock and let you go on his time. The quality of justice in America depends on the character of our government. Please do your job and bring the Department of Justice back from the brink. The survivors seated behind you and the American people watching everywhere deserve a Department of Justice worthy of its name. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, all of the opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witness. The Honorable Pamela J. Bondi has served as the Attorney General of the United States since February 5th, 2025. She previously served in the Office of the White House Counsel, 2 terms as the Florida Attorney General, and spent more than 18 years as a prosecutor. We welcome our witness and thank her for appearing today. We will begin by swearing you in. Would you please rise? Raise your right hand.
Look at this demon right here. Look at this demon.
Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God?
I do.
Let the record show that the witness has answered in the affirmative. Thank you. You can be seated. And please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony. Madam Attorney General, you may begin.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for hosting me here today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to answer your questions, highlight the work of our department, and discuss the most important topic of all, keeping the American people safe. A little over a year ago, I was sworn into office as the 87th Attorney General of the United States. I came into office with the goal of refocusing the Department of Justice on its core mission after years of bloated bureaucracy and political weaponization. The Department of Justice's core mission is to fight violent crime, protect the American people, and defend the rule of law above all else. While our work is never done, we have made tremendous progress to make America safe again. In 2025, we saw the lowest murder rate in 125 years. That's nothing short of historic. If you compare 25 to 24, here's what you'll find. The murder rate is down 21%, robbery down 23%, carjacking down 43%, gun assault down 22%, ag assault, burglary, could go on and on. Crime is declining. This did not happen by accident. The numbers tell an important yet straightforward story. President Trump has given us the resources, the support, and the leadership to protect the American people. President Trump's policies have saved lives. I cannot think of a policy outcome more important than protecting the lives of American citizens. Can you? This trend has been especially clear in Washington, D.C. and in Memphis. These are two iconic American cities that spent years in the grip of horrific violent crime. The Department of Justice surged law enforcement resources, and the results came quickly. Crime plummeted in both cities. And I want to make one point loud and clear. We achieved those results by working with Democratic mayors. Public safety does not have a party registration. When your constituents call 911, they don't ask for political views of the responding officer. They ask for help. I have federal agents in each and every one of your districts. They're here to help, and I am here to help. Many cities and states have worked with us and taken advantage of our federal support. Some have not. Meanwhile, a few elected officials have declared that they are, quote, at war with the federal government and encouraged widespread obstruction of law enforcement. This has resulted in avoidable clashes on the streets, as you've all seen. We've seen rioters storming a Christian church. Citizens and law enforcement officers have both been endangered by reckless rhetoric. We have made dozens of arrests in and around Minneapolis so far, and many of them could have been avoided by simple compliance with federal law. Of course, our efforts reach beyond our urban centers. We are striking crucial blows against terrorist organizations such as MS-13, TDA, the Sinaloa Cartel, and Antifa. And as we sit here, I think you've seen the news this morning. The news is reporting that cartel drones are being shot down by our military. That's what we all should care about right now, protecting America. As we seek to dismantle these drug trafficking networks that poison Americans, in 2025, our DEA agents seized more than 47 million fentanyl pills and more than 9,800 total kilos of fentanyl. That represents 369 million potentially deadly doses.
This is hard,
That
folks.
can kill Americans.
This is hard.
Meanwhile, our attorneys are fighting for President Trump's agenda in courtrooms across this country. This administration has been sued 627 times. We've fought through a nonstop flood of bad faith temporary restraining orders from liberal activist judges across this country. America has never seen this level of coordinated judicial opposition towards a presidential administration. It is not only an unlawful attack on the executive branch's authority, but a serious attack on the democratic process. In spite of this unprecedented judicial activism, we've attained 24 favorable rulings at the U.S. Supreme Court, their emergency docket, and even more to come. We've done so while ending the weaponization of the prior administration by dropping FACE Act prosecutions, exposing the Arctic frost scandal via congressional disclosure, thank you, Chairman, and restoring one tier of justice in this country. To address the Epstein files, more than 500 attorneys and reviewers spent thousands of hours painstakingly reviewing millions of pages to comply with Congress's law. We've released more than 3 million pages, including 180,000 images, all to the public, while doing our very best in the time frame allotted by the legislation to protect victims. And if you brought us a victim's name that was inadvertently released, we immediately redacted it. All members of Congress, as you know, are invited to visit DOJ to see for yourselves. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the Epstein survivors who are here today. I'm a career prosecutor, and despite what the ranking member said, I have spent my entire career fighting for victims, and I will continue to do so. I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through, especially as a result of that monster. If you have any information to share with law enforcement about anyone who has hurt you or abused you, the FBI is waiting to hear from you. I want you to know that any accusations of criminal wrongdoing will be taken seriously and investigated. The Department of Justice is committed to holding criminals accountable to the fullest extent of the law. In 2025, the FBI arrested over 1,700 child predators, a 10% increase from 2024. We also located 2,700 victims of child exploitation and shut down 3.8 million dark web pedophile accounts. 3.8 million. So please, if you have information to share that needs to be investigated, contact the FBI. Today, I look forward to discussing further our shared obligation to protect the American people, uphold the rule of law, and keep this nation safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Attorney General. The chair now, we now proceed under the 5-minute rule. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam General, thank you for your extensive remarks, particularly on your continued investigation of those responsible over the years in the Epstein debacle. Obviously, you have an amazingly full docket between civil rights, between criminal, between so-called white-collar crime, and doing so, as the chairman said, at a time in which both you and the president are under attack, and our ICE agents and FBI and others are under attack when they try to enforce the law. I personally want to apologize for those who would embolden, support, or even stand with those lawbreakers that sit on this and other daises here in Congress. My job generally is to talk about patents and trademarks, as the the chairman of that subcommittee. I'll forego that today because one of my other jobs is the creation and maintenance of Article 3 judges, and I work with the Chief Justice on that, and we're trying to expand the court. But currently, there are only 677 district court judges. They have very full dockets as well. But you create.
So what we're gonna do is, this is another Republican out here in California, and you can just tell he's already trying to cover for Pam Bondi. But I just wanted to say, you just listen to her spew all those lies, and then try to have that little Oscar-winning moment where she's trying to pretend like she genuinely cares about the survivors and the victims. We all know there's a list of prominent individuals, and has the Department of Justice opened up a criminal investigation against any of those prominent individuals, ladies and gentlemen? Have any of you seen any criminal investigations against the prominent people out there? And we know who's at the top of that list, Donald Trump, right? No. So this is what we call gaslighting, ladies and gentlemen, and it's coming directly from the Trump administration via the Department of Justice. Seriously, the stats that she's reading, none of that impresses me, because while you want to say you're getting all these bad people off the streets, where's those guys that unalived Renee Good and Alex Preddy at? Where are those guys, and Keith Porter? Where are those guys at? They still are out here allowed to terrorize American people, as far as I'm concerned. So you're not doing your job, Pam Bondi. And it's sick. It's disgusting, honestly. Challenger, what do you mean I can't handle the truth? It's truly sick. All right, W. Gucci. It's truly sick and disgusting that the American people have to be gaslit into believing that the Department of Justice is truly upholding the rule of law. But at the same time, Donald Trump's name, according to Jamie Raskin, is in the Epstein files unredacted over 1 million times. And we can't get a criminal investigation about that. We can't get justice about what Jack Smith was indicting Donald Trump about. There's no justice. And then the FBI is raiding the election offices in Georgia. There's no justice. All right. And so, Pam Bondi, I know you're getting cooked right now because Jamie Raskin cooked you, but you're going to get cooked on this show this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Pam Bondi, we gotta send you somewhere, because that cross, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy the cross. I see you over there sipping the water bottle because it's getting hot in there. But none of us buy your lies. And you know what happens on this show each and every single time that you do it. Yes, Rick, you're right. Scam Bondi. When you lie, you must fry. Ladies and gentlemen, let's because she's going to be here a while, and we're going to keep our eyes on her, because there's some interactions that I do want to see. I want to see how she reacts when she's actually pressed, right? She's not being pressed right now. She's up there defending lies. This is number one. Join me in warming up the lake of fire and sending the person that, I won't even call her the Attorney General, the acting, this is acting, straight to hell. Thank you. That feels so good. Didn't that feel so good?
Silence, you MAGA demon.
And that's a huge W, Zeus. You sit here and you go, how can she get up there with a straight face and just say some of the most unethical, ridiculous things that I've ever heard an attorney general say, and think that the American people are going to buy it hook, line, and sinker. Now, I do acknowledge that there were Trump voters out there that were saying she's telling the truth. What was she telling the truth about? Seriously, I promise you can't provide any evidence to support those claims. All right. We all see what's happening right here in the United States of America. And from the way it looks to me, Pam Bondi is really Donald Trump's personal attorney, and everything she's doing is un-American. And that includes what we found out yesterday. You heard it being mentioned. She went after 6 Democrats for telling our men and women in uniform that they don't have to obey unlawful orders. All right. It looks like that exchange is over. Let's see who is up next, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring.
Good. This is what we want to hear.
They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer.
Time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she
question.
ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady has reclaimed her
I'm not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say this.
I'll direct it to
what
you.
a massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is
I'm not going to
interrupted.
get in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing theatrics.
and let me have my
The
time.
gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be, Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only to then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level,
Chairman,
Chair now recognizes the chair.
And what you have done.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back. We appreciate that. We appreciate the thought. And I would argue the central issue in the last election, the presidential election, was securing the border. The gentleman from Arizona who knows something about securing the border is up for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. In 2022, Lafarge, which is a French cement company, pled guilty in U.S. federal court to participating in a criminal conspiracy with ISIS. That conspiracy contributed to the deaths of U.S. service members fighting in Syria during Operation Inherent Resolve.
So what we just witnessed, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speechless, honestly. What a spectacle. She wouldn't turn around and look the survivors and the victims in the eyes. It's another round of the lake of fire, right? She didn't have the conviction, even though she's wearing that cross on her chest. I was hoping at some moment that she would be inspired by her Christian values to turn around and restore some sort of dignity to those women. And she couldn't bring herself to do it. It's truly the most sickening thing. And this is very difficult to watch. No respect at all for the Epstein survivors. And then she made a statement that I think told on her. She says, "I refuse to get in the gutter." She told on herself when she said that. Excuse me, ma'am. What gutter? We are literally talking about the United States government covering up for a worldwide P3DO ring. That's the gutter. If you want to talk gutter, what we're asking you to do is to take something simple called accountability, right? Take accountability for what your Department of Justice has done. And you can't do it. She almost got there to, what about Biden? I heard her bring up Merrick Garland. You brought up Merrick Garland in the middle of all of this? You can't. Well, then maybe we should go get Merrick Garland and make him do the job because you're too unqualified to do it. You don't have the ethics. You don't have the morals. You don't have the integrity. And as far as I am concerned, you're once again found to have been complicit in the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in American history. This is a disgusting cover-up at epic proportions. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, I saw what Tiny Tank Top Tim said. He said, "Oh, you're only letting the Democrats talk." Yeah. I only want to hear from people who are willing to be honest. To be honest with you, if they're going to sit up here and talk about anything other than the biggest issue in America right now, I just played to you Alex Jones crashing out. Even MAGA is imploding on itself because of this. Pam, we don't want to hear another word you say. We want you to take accountability, all right? And just keep getting verbally chastised, honestly, by the Democrats. And I'm assuming there's going to be real Republicans as well. I'm waiting to hear it from like Thomas Massey, right? And everybody else. I want to know what they really are going to say to Pam Bondi, because she's not doing a great job. I don't care what you say. The crimes Donald Trump has been committing and we can't get any answers. You know what this means, ladies and gentlemen, on this show. Once again, we're going to warm up the lake of fire. And you know what we do on this show. What happens when you lie on this show, ladies and gentlemen? What happens when you lie on this show? You must fry. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Send her straight to hell. Yeah, we don't want to hear that.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can maybe have some people come up and speak on what they're seeing so far. We'll go in and out between what she is saying and then, maybe other people have stuff that they want to say and contribute. All right. So, and by the way, thank you all. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the show this morning, but they did get me going on the show. Oh, okay, let's go. Look at that. We got Takesha. Good morning, Takesha. How are you doing?
Hey, sweetie, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm coming along.
Okay.
Listen, I told you all the other day
Mm-hmm.
that just because a person wears a cross around their neck does not mean they know God. Anytime you see somebody with a cross, 9.99% of the time, they finna be a liar.
Amen.
They think that they can use that stuff to make people think that they're such good Christian, God-fearing people. But people with discernment, they don't fall for it. If anybody thought that Pam Bundy was going to get up here and have any compassion or any empathy towards what happened to those women as children, then you're watching in vain.
Wow.
I honestly can't even listen to her, Zeus. I had to step out the show. I don't know what it is about these people, but my spirit really get vexed whenever I hear their voices. So in order to keep my peace, I don't even listen to them.
Wow.
I just, let people report on what they said because their voices really, it brings a heaviness to my spirit. Because she not finna do nothing but lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, Takesha. I've been watching this whole exchange. We're gonna listen to some Jasmine Crockett. Bear
After
with me,
FAA
Takesha. You can stay there.
rescinds 10-day flights restriction. This was published by the Texas Tribune on February 11th, 2026, and it says it was because of an impasse with the DOD over the use of unmanned military aircraft and not triggered by Mexican cartel drones.
Without objection.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I didn't hear back about the second round of questions. I assume that's not happening. I just want to be able to assure the members, certainly on my side, if not both sides.
That's not a point of order.
No, that every member will get 5 minutes with the witness. Will there be 5 minutes for each?
Yeah, you get 5 minutes, yeah.
With the witness, okay, very good.
Yeah, okay. And are you up next? Gentleman from New York is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I want to begin by acknowledging the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's horrific abuse who are in the room with us today. I want to thank all of you for your bravery in speaking out. I want to say that you and the other survivors of these heinous crimes deserve better from this Department of Justice. In particular, it is shocking that the department did not redact the names of Epstein's victims, but it did redact the names of their abusers. I don't know whether this was done out of incompetence or whether it was deliberate and malicious, but either way, it is completely unacceptable. Even more troubling, the DOJ has failed to bring any of these perpetrators to justice. Instead, it has engaged in a relentless pursuit of Donald Trump's perceived enemies. I want to focus on just one example. The Attorney General of my home state of New York, Tish James. This DOJ has been hell-bent on securing an indictment against Ms. James for something, anything, simply because she held Donald Trump's companies accountable for years of financial fraud. And indeed, the department manufactured an investigation against her for alleged, quote, mortgage fraud. But the U.S. attorney leading the investigation, Eric Siebert, a Trump appointee, refused to bring charges against Ms. James because there was simply no evidence. Unfortunately, a prosecutor who refuses to do Trump's bidding has no place in this DOJ, so Mr. Siebert was forced out. Trump could not contain his fury that he expressed to you in a social media post addressed to you by name. I'm sure you've seen it. Quote, I fired him and there is a great case, he wrote to you about Mr. Siebert. Then we moved down. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. And obviously, you followed that order. Lindsay Halligan, Trump's former defense lawyer who had never prosecuted a case in her life, was installed to replace Mr. Siebert, and it was clear that part of her mandate was to go after Ms. James. Halligan immediately sought an indictment, which a court dismissed because Halligan was illegally put into the role. But your department was undeterred, and not once, but twice, it tried to indict Attorney General James in separate courts. Both grand juries rejected you and refused to indict her. It is practically unheard of for a grand jury to refuse an indictment. In 2016, it happened in just 6 cases out of over 150,000 offenses. And you had it happen twice in the same week, in 2 different courts. That must have been humiliating. And now there are reports that you are continuing to investigate her. The amount of resources that have gone into targeting Attorney General James, months of investigations, multiple failed indictments, is astounding. Since your own prosecutors told you that there is not enough evidence to support a conviction, it's clear that you were going after her simply because she held President Trump accountable and he wants to punish her. And she is just one name on a long list of Trump political enemies that DOJ is reportedly targeting. From Jerome Powell and Lisa Cook at the Federal Reserve to James Comey, numerous Democratic members of Congress, John Brennan, Jack Smith, Democratic officials in Minnesota, Chris Krebs, Miles Taylors, and more. And those are just the ones we know about. In contrast to these politically motivated investigations, grasping at something they can charge their enemies with, we now have concrete evidence of disgusting criminality revealed in the Epstein files. So I really have just one question for you. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer
theatrics
the
are
question
ridiculous.
the way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
The time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
Reclaiming my time.
I think it's very interesting.
You can
when
reclaim
he
your
talks
time,
about they
reclaiming my time,
indicted,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
president said they indicted him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock
did.
and stop the clock and restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time belongs to
time
the
and
gentleman
reel back
from
the
New
clock,
York.
please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
a question, the witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like
Que-
the answer,
Reclaiming
Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So
my-
he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds to
I
Mr.
am
Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way. And
Reclaiming-
I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds. I
Not a
said that
few more,
already.
45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now, Mr. Nadler. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Reclaiming my time. The answer to my question, how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted, is 0. You have been the Attorney General for a whole year, and your DOJ fired the lead prosecutor of this case, sat on evidence this entire time, and claimed falsely last July that there were no more leads. It took an act of Congress for you to finally release part of the Epstein files, and when you did, you included personal information about the victims while protecting the names of abusers.
Time of the gentleman
None
has
of the perpetrators
expired.
have been brought to justice, but enormous resources
Time
have been
of the
dedicated to
gentleman has
pursuing Trump's
expired,
enemies.
and
It's
obviously
clear
there
that
was-
under your leadership, the Department of Justice
There
no
was
longer
no
works
question
for American
in there.
people. It works
Order
for
respond
Donald
to.
Trump. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
May I answer?
I think our next questioner, Madam Attorney General, is going to give you time to respond to
Thank you, Chairman.
all kinds of things. So we will turn to the gentleman from Texas for 5 minutes.
Ms. Bondi, you go right ahead. I'm over here. The time is yours.
Thank you.
Here it goes.
First, he brought up the president saying they indicted me twice. They sure did. They tried to impeach him twice, and you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump?
Wow.
You all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, the American people need to know this.
Wow.
They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law. to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year. National median rents have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. That's why they want to focus on Epstein and our most transparent president in the nation's history. The murder rate, as I said, has plummeted to a 125-year low thanks to Donald Trump. For an unprecedented 9 straight months, there were 0 illegal border crossings at the southern border. That's what we should be focused on. All the great work that this president has done and will continue to do to keep America safe and to make Americans safe.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. I agree with you totally. I think you've done a fine job. I think that Democrats, in fact, should be
We don't let misinformation flow on this show. So I just can't listen to the folks on the right lie like that. It's enough, honestly, to listen to Pam Bondi. She's covering a lot of the demon territory this morning. And so I have a 0 tolerance. But what I'll do is, you know what, Pam, I'm going to let somebody else come up. I'm trying to get people to come up here and say what they got to say. It's only going to be Democrats and maybe a few Republicans that I think need to be heard. But other than that, I don't got time for the misinformation. So let's see. I saw what you wrote. Here you go. A6, you said you wanted to say something and add to the platform this morning. What do you got for us?
Good morning, Zeus.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I know everybody sees me in the comments
Yes.
often. The reason why I had requested up is because I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for 10 years in the state of New York. And the reason why I requested up is due to Pam Bondi's lies. No sooner than Trump is out of office, Pam Bondi will be going down the same route that Giuliani is going down. She will be losing her law license. The fact that in the law, basically lawyers, we sort of police ourselves.
Correct.
Okay. So the fact that she would just call Raskin a loser lawyer and she's calling people out of her name and
Yeah.
she chose to say to Ms. Jayapal, who's a woman of color, that she's not going to get in the gutter with her.
Right.
And then say to Nader, who I believe is of Jewish descent, that she's not going to get in the gutter with him. Those are things that are disparaging other lawyers and making lawyers look bad on the public stage. So these are all things on top of all of the lies that she has said in many of her hearings. She's going to lose her law license. And as an attorney, as a Black woman attorney,
Yeah.
seeing all the disrespectful comments that Jasmine Crockett gets as a Black woman, that VP Harris gets as a Black woman, seeing some of the nasty comments from your
chat.
biggest haters and
Yeah,
their
the
comments.
Zeus haters. Yeah, the MAGA demons in here. Yeah. It's sick,
Exactly.
right?
It's very sick.
Wow.
And on top of it being very sick, it's very hurtful because most of these people, especially, I'm not, you said don't call people out by names, but you know the ones that I'm speaking of,
Yeah.
who have very little education and they hate to see an educated Black woman coming.
Amen.
It's very difficult to get into law school.
Amen.
It's very difficult to stay in law school. It's very difficult to graduate from law school. It's very difficult to pass the bar exam. And it's very difficult to get admitted to the bar. So people who don't have any idea of all of the work that it takes to do all of those things, and they talk about the best and most beautiful and most accomplished Black women and women of color, it really bothers me.
Yeah.
And to see the smug look on Pam Bondi's face as she's talking, shuffling those papers, acting as though she's also, she's just above this, and she just, has better places to be, and then she's immediately getting mad and pointing at people. I feel like just jumping into the screen, and I wish I was there too. And hopefully when Jasmine Crockett gets her 5 minutes to shine, hopefully she will dress her down, because that's what she needs. This woman has no home training. Whether she was herself a victim or not, she's now an enabler.
Thank you.
I have no remorse for her. And the fact that she wouldn't even turn around and face those victims and say that she's sorry for what happens to them shows that she isn't sorry. And like Ms. Takesha had said earlier, the fact that you have a cross on, I don't know how that cross isn't, lighting up and burning her skin, because it's just like she's sitting there like a smug little demon trick. And I really do not feel bad at all for what happens to her. And I'm sorry, I know I was talking fast, but
you got it out. You got it out. And I appreciate you saying everything that you said, and congratulations, honestly, for all of your accomplishments. Don't let these folks, don't let the devil steal your joy. All right, these folks are miserable. When they complain and they say bad things in the comment section, just keep in mind, like you just said, they're ignorant. They don't know any better. They haven't seen all the things they haven't been exposed to all the wonderful things you have to help you become a better and well-rounded person. So don't let them get to you, all right, A6? And keep up the great work. All right, ladies.
Thank you for letting me up, Zeus.
You're welcome. No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, A6 Walker, please give her a follow and show her some love. All right, no lies detected. All right, let's go and see what the attorney...
Out. Now, the Epstein File Transparency Act, which all but one member of this House voted for, requires the department to release everything except that it needs to be redacted to protect the victims or an ongoing prosecution, which apparently there is none from the testimony we have received. I am concerned that this act has not been fully complied with. When Director Patel came to the committee, he admitted that up to 1,000 FBI agents had gone through the files and redacted President Trump's name from them. And it's pretty clear that what has been transmitted from the FBI continues to redact President Trump's name, even though he is mentioned thousands of times in these files. So I think the credibility of the department in terms of complying with the act has been damaged. And I think the department's credibility has been damaged in other ways. I think we all saw the horrible video of American citizens being killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis. And I think how the department has handled these cases raises a lot of doubt about the department. State and local police in Minnesota got a court order to get access to the crime scene to be sure evidence would be properly preserved by federal agents. But they took the agents defied the court order, and in a departure from general policy, the DOJ is not collaborating with state and local law enforcement on these homicides. So I really think that is a disgraceful approach to the homicides of American citizens, and really does nothing to bring credit to your department. And Mr. Chairman, I would yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.
May I answer?
Attorney General can respond.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. And if they could maintain their composure, this isn't a circus, this is a hearing. I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you? None. And nor did
Mr.
she
Chairman,
post
regular
anything.
order, please.
She
Regular
posted
order.
nothing on her X account, on her Twitter account during the Biden years.
Gentlelady.
Yet now, all of a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going after
Committee will be in order,
on her Twitter account during the Biden years.
Gentlelady.
Yet now, all of a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going after
Committee will be in order.
There was no question
be in
asked
order.
of the Attorney General. She doesn't just get to speak.
Committee will be in order.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Committee will be in order.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady can state her point of order.
when a witness attacks.
Not a valid point of order. You got to state.
She hasn't completed her point of order yet. Please let her speak, Mr. Chairman. Let's have some regular order here.
Regular order is you got to state the rule. And
I am trying to make a point of order that the witness.
And what rule are you referring to?
Without of order that the witness.
And what rule are you referring to?
Without responding to a question has attacked me personally. I think it's pathetic that she can't answer the questions and instead is attacking.
That is not even close to a point of order. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
In August of last year, I sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking for assistance in seeking compensation for the town of Lac du Flambeau. Town of Lac du Flambeau is in my district, and your office replied that it was an ongoing matter and unable to comment on it, which I understand is just fine. But I want to set this up just as a reminder. So 3 years ago, it was at this time of year that 4 roads were blockaded in the town of Lac du Flambeau.
Let's see if we can get more guests to come up here. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, this is pure demonic pure demonic evil we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously. Let's see. All right, who's next? Good morning, Nutty. What do you got for us?
All right, so very quickly, I want to start by apologizing to the kingdom. So not so much to the kingdom, but to you, the host in general. I heard your message, got your message received. But here's the deal. We cannot, based on what we're seeing today in this hearing right now, we cannot continue down the same path that we're on. The Attorney General was asked to turn around and face the victims. She wouldn't give them the decency to even look at them. And so I am going to equate that to Dame. Dame cannot continue being harmful to people on his platform, other platforms, and even this platform. And then when people come at him and say something that he doesn't like, he starts crying where we have to put baby bottles in the comments. Now, my apology is not to Dame. I will never apologize to Dame. My apology is because you are setting standards for your show. And if I even got close to that line.
It wasn't even you, honestly. I
want to make sure that, because this is accountability, right?
Yeah.
This is accountability. This is accountability we speak about.
Yeah.
If I even got close to that line, I want to apologize to you, the host.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, that's how you get better. Honestly, when you know better,
because
you do
it is
better.
it's a respect thing. We always use the equation that we are guests in your home, and when we're a guest in your home, we have to play by your rules because we are guests in your home. So I will always be mindful, and I will always respect the rules of the kingdom.
W Nutty.
But
you're gonna get along with
a
lot further with that attitude. Seriously.
To this narcissist that we're seeing right now, I'm screaming because this is planned, y'all. This is planned to make this hearing very chaotic. If you notice, whenever the Republican speaks, they get answers.
Yeah.
They get answers. It's nice platitudes. The hearing goes on as usual. But as any Democrat speaks, it turns into chaos. This is going to be a chaotic day. This is performance.
Yeah.
So y'all keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I'm getting out of here to see if he can get someone else up. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's my yeah. I mean, it's definitely performative, and we see what's going on here. And Nutty is right. If you want to open up the conversation a little bit about yesterday, it's not so much these people on the right. They create their platforms and they do what they want to do. It's just that I believe, honestly, a lot of you are very, very knowledgeable and very, very talented, right? And so I always try to keep the perspective of what is somebody that is looking at this show who doesn't know all of the background, right? How do they kind of see, how can I highlight what you know and your expertise? What can I do to highlight it, right? And I think sometimes if I can kind of say, well, just ignore the hate and say the message, I believe that will go a lot further than for us to kind of get into that It's a distraction, what I think, when they come in here like trash bait. I see him in there. He wants me to not say anything about Epstein, and the best way to do it is for him to attack Big Zeus and try to say something about me. But But I'm going to always talk about and try to speak up for the survivors. All right. And we also will continue to call out the men who are placing women in dangerous spaces and saying dangerous things that is harmful to women. We'll call that out on this show. So let's not forget that. That's always mandatory because we understand the MAGA demon in the culture. And I've always said it. You're misogynist, you're racist. You go a little further right, we get into sedition and treasonous stuff. And then where we're at now, you go a little more to the right and you get into being guardians of P3DOs or P3DOs yourself. So I don't expect anything less when it comes to the MAGA demons, but I just don't have the time. I don't have the bandwidth to keep educating them. All right, W. Zeus, what's going on now? Let's see what's happening.
Attend this hearing for doing it and for being brave and trying to move this justice forward. I apologize. I can't do it with the Attorney General not recognizing you. That's embarrassing. I am from Memphis, General Bondi, and Memphis does have the task force there. The Memphis Safe Task Force has been operating in Memphis for several months, and we do have a Democratic mayor, Paul Young, and he's not against.
Okay, who's up next, ladies and gentlemen? I just wanted to check in and see where we were at. Moving it along, ladies and gentlemen. Moving it along. We have our good friend, the beautiful Shay. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hey, Dr. Keisha. Hey, Shay, how's it going?
Hey, good. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I've not watched a lot of this, but my God, is this just the worst political circus on the planet? I just sit here and I go, why are you talking about President Trump being the greatest president, the stock market? We're talking about the e-files.
True.
What does that have to do with anything? I mean, this is their, it is diabolical.
Yeah.
This is their thinking. You can't attack the president because the economy's doing better and he's so great. We're not even attacking the president. We're holding your feet to the fire. You promised to release the e-files. You did that fake binders full of stuff that Biden had already released.
Bingo.
I mean, they're lying to the American public and said that Biden never released any of the e-files. He did. He released what he could.
Yeah. Wow.
And he never ran on releasing them in the first place. But you did. Kash Patel did. Dan Bongino did. You did your fake folders with your MAGA, and you made it look so ridiculous, and they came out and called you on it. You said the desk. You have run your mouth about the e-files until you discovered that your commander-in-chief, your great president, is all over those things.
Yep.
All over it.
Yep. Tell them,
And
Shay.
all we're trying to ask is is there any investigation into these people?
Wow.
What are y'all doing to investigate these perpetrators
None.
in the e-files? And they can't answer it because you know what? They're not going to.
Wow.
They're not going to.
Wow. So you don't think
They're not going to investigate anything.
Wow. Not even Howard Lutnick? You don't think they'll investigate Howard who was caught lying?
No.
Wow.
Because what did Trump say to Marjorie Taylor Greene? Stop talking about it because my friends will get hurt. That out of the president's mouth.
Sick.
So no, they're not going to investigate Lutnick. They're not going to investigate any of these people.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's what we're asking her about. Like, come on.
Yeah, you don't care about the Dow Jones and the borders being closed and the arrests being made and all that other stuff she was bringing up, right?
No, it's not the topic.
Thank you.
We're not talking about the economy.
Thank
We're
you.
not talking about necessarily even President Trump. You had the victims out on the steps today saying what they want, and what they want is for these people to be held accountable for the crimes against these children.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Yeah. Well,
that's what the DOJ should be doing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Thank you. Now the last question, I guess, Shay, is you saw what she wouldn't stand up and look at the victims, the survivors. What do you think about that?
Oh, what a coward. God, what a coward. How disgusting is that?
Yeah.
See, I spend my days on this app just calling out the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I listen to the right all the time and what they say. We care about the children. We care about the sex trafficking.
Right.
We care about the border because of all the children that went missing
Yeah.
in the sex trafficking, right?
Yeah.
Why aren't they mad as a rabbit tick on a dog? Why are y'all not mad? I don't get it.
Yeah.
This is why we're calling you out. This is why we call you hypocrites. This is why we call you cultists.
Yeah.
This is why we do this. Because you're not standing on what you say you believe in and forcing this administration to do the investigation.
Yep. Tell them, Shay.
We're not saying Trump's done anything yet. We're just saying his name's in the files. We're not condemning him. We're just saying there's some ugly stuff in this file. We're talking beef jerky.
Yeah.
We're talking cream cheese. We're talking all this disgusting things. It's like, where are we going now that they've been released?
Tell them. Yeah.
Like,
well, we're gonna.
Where's the investigations? Yeah, I don't know, babe.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna continue, Shade. Monitor this situation and get the truth out here. But I appreciate you as always. All right, for coming up here and weighing in.
Appreciate you, my friend.
All right, no problem, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give the beautiful Shay.
Love you all.
All right, we love you too. A huge round of applause. No lies detected. All right, moving it along, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Press rights, freedom of the press rights. That's not really accurate because he was trampling on other individuals' rights. Is that true?
Chairman, we will always protect our churches and the freedom of religion. And yes, that's accurate.
First right mentioned under the First Amendment, freedom of religion, freedom to practice your faith the way you think the good Lord wants you to, right?
That's right, under the federal government.
And isn't it true that Mr. Lemon met at a shopping center with the rioters who entered
Don Lemon?
church in St. Paul,
Don
met with
Lemon.
them prior to marching to the church?
He did meet, and this is a pending case right now, so I will only stick to what is in the four corners of the unsealed indictment, if I could, Chairman.
Yeah, I'm
There's
focused
a lot more that will come out, but under the four corners of the indictment, yes, he did. They had an operation called Operation Pull Up. They said they were gearing for a resistance. They met in a parking lot and they caravanned to a church on a Sunday morning when people were worshiping together.
And Mr. Lemon said that he live streamed before entering the church with the rioters. Didn't he say we're going to head to the operation? Didn't he say this on? He said this on camera. Is that right?
Yes, Chairman.
Yeah.
And more.
That he was in Minnesota, and that, as you said, they were gearing up for an operation. So you can't do that. This is why this is, I think, so important that this guy be held accountable, and I think why you guys have charged him and indicted him. Moving to the second subject here, will John Brennan be indicted? Mr. Brennan lied to the committee, which you're not supposed to do. Last Congress, when we deposed him, he definitely, 18 U.S.C. 1001, we're all familiar with it. He lied to the committee, and the Congress, and I think the country would like to know if, in fact, he's going to be indicted for lying. And here's why it's so important. I'll give you a chance to respond. Here's why it's so important. It wasn't just that he lied to us, it's what he lied to us about. He lied to us about when all this weaponization against the President of the United States started. He lied to us about the dossier, and specifically what role the dossier played in the intelligence community assessment. Because we know back when President Trump was first elected, first term, this is when it all started, which led to the Mueller and to the impeachment and to the Jack Smith and all the stuff that's happened in the last decade. But it began here, and he lied to Congress about the role he played. And I just want to read a couple of things he said during that deposition before I give you a chance to respond. Mr. Brennan, when asked a question, said the CIA was not involved at all with the dossier. He said it was their purview, FBI's purview, and not ours.
That's enough of that. That's enough of that. See, we can't get MAGA. We can't get these Republicans. This is why I don't like listening to the folks, Matt Jordan. None of them want to address the real issues that are going on in the country. So you know what I would rather do? I would rather hear from all of you amazing people instead when the Republicans get up there and start lying. And so, yes, who do we have next? Good morning, Ange. How are you?
I'm okay. Good morning. Thank you for taking a break from that. Jim Matt Jordan is absolutely one of the worst He looks like a little rodent. You need to set out a rat trap for him.
So
My
true.
thing with Pam Bondi, I mean, is she Trump's personal attorney? Like, I'm really confused right now. Or is she supposed to be representing us? And maybe her duty is to the Constitution and the law. Like, am I wrong? A6. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what you're talking about down there. Like, did Merrick? I'm not a huge Merrick Garlick fan, but did he do this?
No.
Like,
he didn't protect Joe Biden
trust
like
me, I
this.
thought he should have done. He thought he should have done a lot more. I'm not a fan.
He should have saved
However,
Hunter Biden, though, right? Merrick Garland. He should have saved Hunter.
oh yeah,
Yeah, but he didn't do
yes,
that.
of course,
Right.
of course. But I mean, this is just an absolute S show. This is a circus. She is sitting there smug and indignant.
Yeah.
She's not taking anything serious
Mhm.
whatsoever. Look at her right now.
Yeah.
It's just smiling and like, I don't know who said it. I think it was Jamie Raskin. She comes with a burn book. It's like she's looking up who's going to be questioning her, and then she just comes in with personal attacks. That's all she's doing.
Yeah.
She hasn't answered one question.
Wow.
And as people have said repeatedly, she will not even look at those victims/survivors. She will not. Just everything is. How is this a joke?
She
Why
said she
is
didn't want to get
laughing?
into the gutter. Remember, she didn't want to get into the gutter. Remember
I've
that?
never seen anything like this.
Hmm.
I don't know how she can sit there and start attacking them while it is their time to be questioning her. Has she answered any of their questions?
None at all. None at
She's
all.
talking about the damn stock market.
Yeah.
While we're talking about survivors, girls as young as 11, 12, 13 years old. She doesn't even care. I just can't. Like,
Yeah.
I need some Zofran or something. She's totally nauseating.
Yeah. Wow.
This is disgusting and embarrassing, and I'm just going to drop down so somebody can come up.
All
and I'm
right.
waiting for Miss Jasmine Crockett.
Me
What
too.
happened? Did they cut her off?
Yeah, I don't
I
know
thought
what
I heard her.
I think she interrupted to say something, but I don't think her turn has came just yet.
Well.
But yes, W's in the chat for Ange.
Thank
No,
you.
no lies detected. And thank you for coming up here. More of you up here.
For
A different
assisting
question
with
that
this
you're getting to
project.
now. There were 500 DOJ
At
lawyers and others assigned the task of redacting the appropriate information, including identities of the Epstein victim survivors from the Epstein files prior to their release. 500, is that correct?
If I could have finished my answer,
Well,
there were more than
I'm
500
just-
attorneys and reviewers who
Okay.
assisted
All right, okay.
with the. They
That
asked a
answers
question
my
and they
that
don't
ans-
want an answer.
That answers my question,
Congressman,
ma'am,
let
and
me
I'm going to
continue.
move on.
More than.
I'm going to move on.
From
General
multiple
Bondi, would you
You will be in
agree?
order.
This
Time
is
belongs.
ridiculous.
The time belongs to the gentleman from Georgia.
General Bondi, would you agree that your 8 years of service as the state of Florida's Attorney General, the third largest state in the nation, served as an excellent preparation for your current role as Attorney General for the United States of America?
Not only that, I was a career prosecutor for 18
years. And for
18 years.
And for 18
prior to
years,
being
for 18
He
years,
asked a
you
question and doesn't
prosecuted-
want an answer. This is theatrics.
Well, no, for 18 years, you
on.
prosecuted serious felony cases, including drug cases, correct?
Oh, I prosecuted homicides. I prosecuted capital cases. I prosecuted domestic violence cases. I prosecuted multiple cases, and that's why I feel for all of these victims. And did you ask Merrick Garland this when you were sitting before
you also
him, sir?
prosecuted sexual assault cases and child sex trafficking cases, correct?
I answered that question earlier. I
Okay.
prosecuted
All right.
multiple
Well,
cases
so
when I
bottom
was
line,
a prosecutor.
bottom
If I
line,
can
you're an
answer the question,
experienced and seasoned.
for 18
you're an
years.
Mr. Chairman, will you a reminder of the rules? The time belongs to the member of the committee.
You
think
are
I've- I
a
think I've said that a few
seasoned
times.
and experienced prosecutor, correct?
I think we've established that.
Yes or no?
Does he want an answer or not?
he wants to
When
say
I
no.
I want a
answer,
yes
I
or
get
no
cut off.
answer.
I think he wants to say
I want a
ma'am.
yes or no
I
answer,
can-
but
yeah, I can
I'll
explain my
live with what you
experience. I'd
have
be
already
love to
said.
explain
Let
my
me ask you.
experience.
Let me ask you this questions.
Clearly,
in
you
the
don't have any.
prosecution of sexual assault cases, you are acutely aware of how important it is to protect the identity of victims of sexual assault, correct?
I have addressed this multiple times. I think others were cutting me off when I was trying
Well,
to.
I just simply asked, are you aware of the fact that it's vitally important to protect the identity of sexual assault victims as you prosecute the people they accuse of assaulting them? Isn't that correct?
Excuse me. As we have said multiple times,
Protection of the
protection
identity
of all victims
of the victims
are
is
protected.
so very
Who are
important.
protected under? Do you want me to answer or do you want to interrupt?
Well, because you're not answering the question. You do a Jekyll and Hyde kind of routine around here, and I just want you to answer my questions.
What does Jekyll and Hyde mean? Can you explain
it means
that?
you're nice to the
Explain
Republicans and you turn like Hyde on Democrats. But let me ask you this, ma'am. We have the Epstein victim survivors here today. Representative Jayapal asked a simple question. If you would be so kind and honorable as to turn around and face them and apologize to them for outing them. I mean, how many lives have been derailed because your department was either sloppy and incompetent or willfully trying to intimidate and punish these ladies for coming forward?
The time of the
Which
gentleman,
was it?
The time of the gentleman has expired. The gentleman yields
Yep.
back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Wisconsin for 5 minutes.
Attorney General Bondi,
So we still can't get Pam Bondi to turn around. I think this is going to be the story of the day. For all of you saying that this is a huge W for Pam Bondi, I don't believe this is. I don't know if you're looking at this from a historical perspective with the legal lens or just with the good old common sense lens. This is not going to help the Republican Party in any way, shape, or form. Mark my words. The beautiful Jim. Welcome, Jim. How are you? Look at that. Good morning, Jim. Can you hear me? Oh, I thought you were up here. Okay, well, I guess we can move on to the next. Maybe you accidentally dropped out. All right, moving it along, ladies and gentlemen. Who do I have next? All right. Missy, good morning. How are you?
Ugh, annoyed.
Speak on it. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know what's so interesting is that there used to be respect for the White House, the presidency, people who work 18 years as prosecutors, people who are supposed to be doing their jobs professionally. And when they open their mouth and they sound like basically a teenager who's mad because they didn't get their part in a play or something like that. I mean, it's just embarrassing. I think this is bad for the Republican Party. I don't think it's going to, end well for them. I think they should continue to let her spiral out of control because, as you can see, she can't even hold it together. You know, the deflection from the files, the biggest cover up that our country is a part of is absolutely insane.
Wow. I agree. I completely agree with you. And you see that she is really struggling to look at these survivors and, the victims and acknowledge their existence. And so what does that say from your perspective? What does that say about her? Because she's quick to defend Donald Trump, right? And
of course. Well, she keeps saying he's the best president of all. The gaslighting, not only from this administration and just from her in general, it tells me that she has more connections to these files. I think she's been in the files. I think she's covered up in the files. I think most people who are around this man are a part of it. And that's why it's so important that they don't get the unredacted files That's why she says, oh, we released all of them and we're so transparent, but we're not. And as a woman, to know that there are survivors that they sloppily or intentionally outed as victims who weren't intending on having their names, their birth dates, their faces out in these files. And as a woman and as a mother to a daughter, I'm disgusted
Yeah.
that there is someone like that as our DOJ that's allowing that to happen. And shame on her for not turning around and having the decency of a human being to
Amen.
say, I'm sorry that this happened to you
Yeah.
because of the incompetence of this administration and the DOJ.
Amen. Amen. W. Missy. I mean, that's all. And I didn't twist your arm to get you to say that. You came up here under your own, on your own, and you came to that very reasonable conclusion, right?
Yeah.
Why do you
I
think?
mean,
Why do you think so many
it's
people
easy.
on the right, especially like Pam Bondi, why do you think this is so difficult for her? I don't get it. And to your point, she is a woman, and you know that if the shoe was on the other foot, so to speak, and this was one of her loved ones, she would be literally saying every single word you said or more. But why do you think she's struggling so much to do the right thing?
I think she's struggling because this whole network of trafficking, this abuse of children and women is showing that the party of pro-life is the party that hates women and hates children. And if the patriarchy falls,
Yeah.
if these white men lose their control, then the country will fall, which it needs to. It needs to burn down. We need all of these people gone, and we need to restart.
Thank you. I completely agree. Oh my gosh, you took the words right out of my mouth, Missy. Seriously, and I do appreciate you calling out these dangerous men out here. All right, serious, because they need to be identified, and we need to keep our eyes on them. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I just say, for anybody listening, I'm so sick of the rhetoric of, oh, this is against Trump. This is for anybody, right, left, red, blue, indigo, violet, orange, green. I don't care who you are.
Speak
If
on
you were a part, if you were complicit, if you knew about it, whether your hands were in the honey pot or not, you need to go to jail. You need to be accountable. You shouldn't be a billionaire, a politician, a sultan, a leader, a Victoria's Secret model agency. None of it. It needs to go. We have to protect the children. We're supposed to be this country where everyone says, you, one, can come here for the American dream. Two, it's the safest country. Your children are safe here. Women have all these rights. I hope people are waking up. I hope the veil is being lifted, especially watching how her demeanor changes when these Republican reps speak to her and glaze her. And it's this theatrical performance that's being placed out in front of the American people to distract you from the fact that this man is in there over 38,000 times. Unredacted, Raskin said, over 1 million.
Wow, spot on, and thank you. Make sure you're following Missy, ladies and gentlemen, all right? And Missy, as always, thank you for coming up here and keeping it nice.
I'm going to go back and listen to this
all right.
nonsense.
All right, we are too. All right, wow, ladies and gentlemen, W. Let's keep it. Oh, we have Eric Swalwell.
It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number.
I understand why the victims are frustrated, and the Attorney General acknowledged what Mr. Patel would not acknowledge, that it was way more than 1,000 times. But I want to move, Madam Attorney General, to weaponization of government. And yesterday it was reported that 6 members of Congress had indictments sought against him, and they were not returned by a grand jury. My colleagues have spoken about their frustration of being in subpoenas and having cell phone records combed through. Well, in 2017 and 2018, Adam Schiff and I had our cell phone records and email records combed through, not by you, but a different Department of Justice under the president. It was in retaliation for our role in the Russia interference campaign. An Inspector General report would find this improper and that the predicate for it was absurd. In 2020, after sitting on 2 committees that were a part of the president's first impeachment, an FBI agent leaked my cooperation in a national security case where my campaign was targeted. The president's FBI senior leadership authorized 2 statements to the press that said I was never suspected of wrongdoing and only helped the investigation. But that didn't stop the death threats or my GOP colleagues from referring me to an ethics investigation where Kevin McCarthy's chairman on the ethics committee would find the same thing as the FBI. Our current FBI director would then write a book called Government Gangsters and identify a long list of enemies. About a quarter of them have been either investigated or indicted. He listed me at the very top along with Adam Schiff, and during that same testimony refused to recuse himself when asked if he would recuse if any case came across his desk involving me or people on that list. Since that testimony, his department has put me under investigation with Senator Schiff for the nonsense mortgage fraud cases that we've seen. I get it. This is what the president does. I've priced it in. We have a bingo card at home that my kids have made of what will come next. I expected that the president would come after his enemies. But what I want to talk to you next is serious, and I did not expect this would happen, and I'd like your help on it. The president has inspired death threats against me and many sitting up here with me. In June 2025, an individual left 11 voicemails at my district office. On the voicemails, they said, "Get the message to him. I'm gonna hunt him down, that motherfucker, and toss his ass over the Golden Gate Bridge by my fucking self." Donald Trump's Department of Justice in the Northern District of California declined to prosecute. On May 14, 2025, on Twitter, responding to something I posted, an individual said, "No, it wasn't Eric, and now I'm going to kill you." The Department of Justice from the Southern District of Texas declined to prosecute. May through December of 2025, we received messages at my office that said, "I hope somebody shoots you and your children and your wife in the head. Pew, pew, motherfucker, pew, pew." I would stay indoors as much as possible, and my children, unfortunately, have to do that. The Department of Justice has not charged this individual and cited that he's a prolific caller and has health conditions, although what we have found in our own investigation and his voicemails is that he has said he will employ others to do this. The president can come after me. It's fine. I'm in the arena. So are these folks. But we never expected that the Department of Justice would not seek to prosecute and investigate those who are making threats against us. And that would include those on that side of the aisle. And I'm just asking for your help to protect life, because life is at risk with the environment we're in right now.
Congressman, I completely agree with you. I know about several of those personally involving you. I believe one has been charged publicly, and there's something I would be happy to talk to you about off camera, but I can assure you that they are very serious. They are being looked into, and I can give you more details on those. None of you should be threatened, ever. None of your children should be threatened. None of your families should be threatened. And I will work with, you can come into my office any day. I will work with all of you on both sides of the aisle if you are ever threatened. And I'll gladly talk to you after this hearing about your cases. But I can tell you some of them are very active.
Appreciate that. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields back, and we're sorry for what the gentleman and his family have had to go through. We appreciate what the Attorney General said, and I think some of the things that the gentleman from California related, we can all relate to, and it's unfortunate, it's wrong, as the Attorney General said, and we appreciate the help we get from the Justice Department. With that, we will now recognize the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Van Drew.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't know where to begin. Thank you for being here, General. You might see me.
Okay, enough of that. So as you can see, what we did just find out is a lot of the violence still is coming from the folks on the right. Why are you so violent on the right? That's the question. All right, let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen. Moving it along. Hold on. Oh yeah. I was gonna say something to you, but I think you realized you didn't probably want to have that conversation. All right. Moving it along. Val, how are you doing, brother?
Doing good, sir. How you doing?
I am doing okay. Another day, another show, tending to the affairs.
It's a day.
But you're paying attention to how
Yes.
the so-called Attorney General is struggling up here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's struggling. Struggling's a word. I would, what I'm saying, I would go more as acting. So this is, what I'm saying, this is what she's doing. She did not come into this to answer a single question that is meaningful to the American people. She has built this entire deal to actually subvert the questions that Congress is asking. And if y'all pay attention, she keeps talking because what she's really trying to do is use up the members' 5 minutes. That is what she's actually doing.
Wow.
Okay. And, and she even answered the question for, what that the chairman should be taking care of. She even said to one of the senators, "Your time is up."
Isn't that something?
And that's, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we're seeing here. This is an absolute subversion. Any American that is actually watching this will see this for what it is. It's actually extremely transparent.
Yeah.
What's happening here. Okay. She wants to get built up by the Republicans as much as she can, but she does not want to give a Democrat a single amount of time to ask her a real question about what's going on. That is what's happening. And what just happened a second ago when everybody goes, "Well, thank you for doing that." I want everybody to pay attention that thank you came with a cost for her. Okay. Now she's going to have to show those investigations. That question wasn't asked. That question wasn't asked for no reason. And her answer pushed her into a situation. She is now going to have to show those investigations, because the next time she comes forward, that'll be when somebody goes to her office and they go, "Well, we didn't really find anything here." Now she's going to have to actually show these investigations.
Good.
She is so claimed that she is working on, which we all know is absolute BS.
Yeah.
So this is the member from California was quite bright in what he just did right there. So these are the things that we're going to look at. The fact that she brought up the economy and she brought up the Dow. Well, anybody that studies the economy or knows anything about economy, let me tell you something. Dow means nothing when it comes to our economic measures.
Correct.
Okay, that it really does not. Okay, it is an absolutely, and what we've seen is manipulation of the markets. Okay, and this latest manipulation, the government coming out with the January jobs figure.
You saw those job numbers. I was curious. Yeah, I was curious what you thought about it, because now they're saying
$130,000.
Yeah,
130,000 jobs.
Yeah.
ADP says 33. Okay, so
Really?
33,000 jobs in ADP, and then they dropped the 40,000. They dropped the 40,000 from December. ADP dropped 40,000 December down to 22. So yeah, these are the things they want to bring up. And the reason I say ADP, people, is because we have said for a while now we cannot trust the numbers that come out of this administration.
We don't.
And and I want to make everybody real clear on this.
I don't trust
ADP has always been very, very close over our past history to what the federal government has brought out. They've always been within, single digits of each other. You know what I'm saying? Of job figures, single digit percentage wise of each other in job figures.
Yeah.
Right now, we have a government claiming 130,000 jobs and ADP's initial estimate of 33,000 jobs.
Yeah. I don't.
This is
I'm not an economist, right? But I don't feel like 130,000 jobs were created in January. I just don't feel that way. I don't, you see people out here.
Well, it's obviously not. And, anybody that gets new jobs or knows it, it's just not the case. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
Most figures actually, so still losing manufacturing jobs. Okay. There's still things going on in that realm.
Yeah.
But when you come out with 130,000 jobs figures, that's going to spike the market. And that's what I talk about, why the market is not a good indicator of the economy. It's a great indicator of how billionaires are taking money.
Yeah.
Put that in your pipe for a minute.
All right. Well, listen, we got to bring up Jasmine Crockett. All right, brother, ladies and gentlemen, let's give Brother Val a huge round of applause. No lies detected.
Objection admitted. Now I recognize the gentleman from
Oh, wait a
California,
second. I don't think
Mr. Liu.
It's not Jasmine Crockett, but it's Ted Lieu. Still.
It's Ted Lieu.
All righty then. W's in the Let's listen to Ted Lieu.
I'm going to show you two photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face?
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During,
Were
the
you not
Biden,
here
during
then?
the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures, but you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I
question.
answer your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's a video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
the
stop the
Trump
clock.
to
Please
sign
stop the clock.
the legislation. This is
Time.
this is
to reclaim
ridiculous.
my
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not
can
ask a
respond,
question,
but
Mr.
he
Go ahead,
doesn't
you're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his state.
She can't just
Madam Attorney
ad-lib
General.
stuff. I did not ask a question.
Committee will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think our next witness will be more than happy to let the Attorney General
Madam
respond.
Attorney General, would you like to?
Gentleman from Alabama is recognized for 5 minutes.
You have a few minutes to respond.
Thank you, Congressman. This is what Congressman Liu didn't want to talk about. He didn't want to talk about all the crime that is happening in his state. California refuses to honor detainees because of its dangerous sanctuary city policies. The refusal means California has released 4,561 criminal illegal aliens onto its street. The crimes of these aliens include 31 homicides, 661 assaults, 507.
And so you see what's going on. Pam Bondi, the Democrats are doing an outstanding job taking it to her. I looked at the time, ladies and gentlemen, but we've had an interesting show today. This normally I had so much I wanted to cover, but we're going to put a pin in it right here. You see what's happening. I got to actually do this. We got to send Scam Blondie, that's what they call it. We're going to send her to hell one more time because she's up there lying, and really it's disturbing and disgusting. It's vile, it's reprehensible, all in one, and she's doing it while wearing a cross. I've never seen anything like this. This is totally diabolical. And Ted Lieu, you all remember the story about Dusty Ray Duke. I had a video about her, the limousine driver. That is scary business, and it shows you just how dangerous Donald Trump is. And you mean to tell me we don't have a criminal investigation to go in and look at that case and make sure everything is on the up and up? Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, join me in warming up the lake of fire, because on this show you know exactly what we do. When you lie, you must fry. Let's send her where she belongs. We don't got time for this. P3DO protectors. That's what GOP is. It's sick stuff.
Silence.
All right.
MAGA Damon.
Well, listen, that concludes this broadcast. All right. Seriously, this has been quite the show this morning, and we'll keep doing what we need to do to get the word out. But please get out here and keep up the wonderful work standing up against the injustice of this current administration. Meantime and in between time, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all later. Somebody said they want to hear it. All right. Thank you so much for the support. Serious. All right. We are out of here. They said they want to hear What About Biden. How many of you want to hear What About Biden? We'll let that play out while we're gone. Have a great rest of your morning. W to all of you in the chat. Seriously.
What about Biden? Yeah. What about Biden? Oh, what about Biden? Stole the whole election.
Wow. Pam Bondi, you need to stop lying. Thank you, Kara.
Millions crossing, drugs pouring. Where we begin? What about Biden? Gas prices sky, inflation wild.
Have a great rest of your morning.
Can't feed your child. What about Biden?
This is a sad song. This is all Pam Bondi is doing up there. Joe acting blind. Oh, she's singing. What about Joe Biden this?
What about Biden?
What about him?
Yeah. What about Biden?
What did Biden do? This is my favorite part. Everything, he puts it all out in his voice. He just lays it all out.
In the White House, call him Sleepy Joe, cognitive decline. Everybody knows stumbling words, just can't finish a sentence. Puppet on strings, who pulling the leverage? Hunter's laptop, bullets of deals. China cash flow, million concealed. Family getting pain, influence pedal while we out here struggling. Pockets unsettled. Weaponized OJ, FBI raids. Mar-a-Lago storm, but Hunter gets praised. January 6th, locking up brands, but Joe's pacified docs in his garage, man. Keystone cancel, energy weak. Depending on foes, gas $4 a week. Crime in the cities, soft on the streets, defund the police. Chaos for beat.
He stole that election, huh? No lies detected. That ain't right. See it, y'all. Biden left those borders open. Oh my God. What about him?
economy dying, can't feed your child.
You can't feed your kid.
What about Biden, Afghanistan,
Biden.
left from behind. 13 soldiers gone.
Joe acting blind. What about Biden? Thank you all. Sing it. What about him? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Biden?
Yeah.
What about him? What about him? Look at that part, gets me every time. All right. We'll be back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Same Zeus time, same Zeus channel.